Welcome. Welcome to the Who Has Time for This podcast, a podcast where we delve into complex topics through the lens of our own unique perspectives. I'm Katie.
And I'm Caitlin.
And today, Caitlin is going to run us through a topic that she is passionate about, running.
Yes. You know, maybe at face value, not that complex, but we're here to make it complex, so...
We like to complicate things
here.
Yes,
we do. I'll just give a little bit about I'm just going to start from the beginning where my outline begins. So
we're following the outline.
We're following the outline, which is not generally what I do. I make an outline and then who knows what happens. I was thinking about running because I did both the No Kings protests. I did the one in June and I did the one in October, just a couple weeks ago, and I just felt like, I was like, where have I felt this energy before in, like, my life? And it made me think about being at the start line of a big race where everybody's just, like, buzzing with excitement, and we're all, like, about to do the same thing, coming from our own experiences and training programs and whatever, and I felt that, like, big start line energy when I was at the No Kings protest, and I don't know, I started drawing parallels and whatever, but, like, not everything has to be about that all the time. And I just, like, running is fun. It's marathon season right now. All the big fall marathons are happening. And I just thought it was just, you know, a little deviation from what we normally cover, but something that we both like to do, running, and we have even a history, which we'll go through in a little bit. But, yes, it's marathon season. Big marathon season energy, that collective hum of hope and movement and community that running tends to inspire. And in thinking about this and thinking of my own journey with running and how I was, like, drawing parallels with where we are in our current political climate, I remembered a quote by Kathrine Switzer, who is a famous runner. I'll get to her story in a second, but she said, "If you're ever losing faith in human nature, go out and watch a marathon." And I loved that, and that's how I kind of view, you know, when we see any story on the news, like the No Kings protests or whatever, it's like, whenever you're upset and sad and feel hopeless, like, look at what the power of community can do, and running is a powerful community. So without further ado, I want to talk about what running and, like, running races reveal about resilience, humanity, and purpose. Even, or especially, I will say, for those of us who are in the back of the pack, we are just your average, everyday people who sometimes run, sometimes don't. I personally haven't run in, like, 2 years, but I'd like to get back to it. Like, the people you don't normally hear from in running culture and
the people
community.
who are out there finishing first in marathons.
Yeah,
and stuff.
Exactly. Like, you hear maybe about the back of the pack, like this one guy that I follow on Instagram who used to go by 300 pounds in running. Like, he's obviously making a statement. Like, he was 300 pounds in running marathons, and, like, that's amazing and good for him. I don't think he's 300 pounds anymore because he's been running. So he's switched to his actual name. His name is Martinus Evans, if anybody wants to go find him on Instagram. He's got a super inspiring story, but inspiring stories aside, you don't really normally hear from your average everyday person who just, like, thinks running is fun and cool.
Runs a couple miles in the morning.
Yeah, so I wanted to bring that perspective as people who, like us, just do it for fun or for fitness, or like me, harbor secret dreams of accomplishing a feat like running a marathon or several marathons in my future. But, so, let me tell you a bit about Kathrine Switzer, the woman who gave the quote about losing faith in human nature, go out and watch a marathon. She is the first woman to run in and finish the Boston Marathon officially in 1967. So until that point, women had, like, never participated officially in any of the big name marathons because they had been excluded. Like, you needed to be a man to run. It didn't say that explicitly, I don't think, in the rules, but that was just, like, the common...
It's a boys' club.
Yeah, exactly. It was a boys' club of running marathons. And why? For all these stupid reasons, we've been told we can't, we being women, do anything, such as our legs would get too big, or we would grow hair on our chests. from all the physical exertion, or our uteruses would fall out, whatever.
I remember
what have you.
On one of those reality model shows, it wasn't America's Next Top Model, it was another one, but they told the women models that they weren't allowed to run on the treadmill, they had to walk because they couldn't make their leg muscles too big.
That won't happen. So your leg muscles might get like chiseled and look great, but what? But like no. Okay, so yeah, it was questionable because like women, they can't do anything, so can't exert themselves too much. So yes, she was in college at the time, and she was like running in the I don't remember if it was casually or if she was on the track team or whatever, but she wanted to run the Boston Marathon. She just wanted to. And so she registered under her initials, KV Switzer, so that, she wouldn't be found out. And she showed up on race day, and nobody, I don't think, really noticed her at first. But then I think there's like a press cart, like they're in like car or a cart or whatever with the camera, and they're just like following the runners and like, tracking like whoever's running, like most specifically like the elites, like the professional runners, and then they start following just like the regular people who are running, and they noticed there was a woman running, and then the race director noticed there was a woman running, and he started running after her. What? And he was like, "Give me back my bib, give me the bib, the running numbers, like you're not supposed to be in here." He like grabbed her and was trying, like the man who like is the face of the race, like
horrible.
And like obviously the press got like crazy photos of that did not make him look good. But but her boyfriend at the time was like a football player.
What year was this?
This is 1967. Okay. Her boyfriend, Kathrine's boyfriend at the time, was a football player, and he like body blocked the guy, and the guy went flying. And then she was like, "Oh my God, now I'm gonna be like people are gonna think I like chucked the race director off the course." And so she was like, but then she didn't want to like stop, like because I don't know, like I think she was shaken, but she was like, "No,
keep running.
I'm going to finish this race on my hands and knees if I have to, because I want to show that women can do it and they shouldn't be excluded." So she did finish the race, and she showed that the idea that women are incapable of running marathons and don't deserve a place at the starting line is untrue. Bogus. And she then, continued her running career and became like an activist to campaign for more inclusivity in marathon running.
Cool.
And the Boston Marathon did not officially admit women until 5 years later, which is crazy, but they did. And she also campaigned for the women's marathon to be included in the Olympics.
Oh,
and
cool.
It was. And she won the New York City Marathon in 1974, 2 years after Boston let women in. And it was a 100-degree day. She won the women's division in 1974. Cool. Running can be like an act of defiance in this case, an act of liberation, and a showcase of belonging and inclusivity.
Also, you just made me think of another topic we'll have to delve into is men's versus women's sports.
Yes.
Is it really that different?
Yeah, right, exactly. A lot of people are like, I bet if we put the Yukon women's team,
the amount of like
beat everybody.
out of shape men that are like, put me next to the most in shape woman runner, marathon runner, and I'll beat her. And it's like, no, you won't.
Yeah, exactly. So I obviously am just a regular everyday person. I haven't made the same level of contributions to running as Kathrine Switzer, but I am a fan of running for fitness. I'm also really into running culture and community in terms of like, I listen to like most of my podcast listening is political or news related, but my escapist podcasts are running podcasts. I love a good marathon or half marathon recap. Allie on the Run is a big running influencer. She used to be big in the blogging world, but now she's a podcaster. A lot of bloggers turned into podcasters. She is like one of my favorite people to follow. She has a really, really great story. She has Crohn's disease, which is a digestive disease. She's run like, I don't know how many marathons. Can you imagine having digestive issues and running marathons? I can't. she's overcome all that.
That's incredible.
She also was diagnosed with breast cancer. She's like, I think she turned 40 this year, but she was diagnosed with breast cancer like 2 years ago. She was 38. She has a young daughter, like, and she's still running throughout it all. But I remember, like, I've been following her since 2017. Like, the year I got married was when I discovered her and, like, really was drawn in by her story, listened to her podcast, read her blog. And she's always interviewing, like, all kinds of people, everyday runners, elite runners, winners of the marathons, etc. So, like, I know all the running lingo. I know you would think that I run every day when, in fact, I haven't run in, like, 2 years. But I just really drawn into the culture.
It's so interesting. Like, I didn't know there was so much, like, full podcast dedicated to running. That's cool.
It's like a huge like subculture of podcasting. But I remember when she announced she had breast cancer, and I told my husband, I was like, this is like finding out what, like, my friend has breast cancer. Like, I'm really upset about this, like, for her. It's, I don't know. She's one of my favorite people. Allie on the run, if you hear this, I love you. And your story, and you're a huge inspiration. So anyway, where did I get my start in running? I'm sure everybody wants to know.
Yes, we did.
When I first started dating my husband, I remember our first Thanksgiving together. He was like, I'm running this 5-mile turkey trot in Madison on Thanksgiving morning. And I was like, what? People run on Thanksgiving? What? Why? Because we were, like, going to go out and party the night before. Yeah. Because it was the night before Thanksgiving. Yeah. And he had to, like, leave early and not get crazy because he was running the race the next day. And I did not understand. But then as we continued dating, and he was running. He ran a lot back then. It's, like, weird.
I remember.
Now.
Yeah, he was a big runner.
Yeah. I mean, he still is. Yeah. He doesn't do it. You know, we have 2 kids. It's just, like, a weird time. But I was like, okay, you know, as the next Thanksgiving, we were still dating, came closer. I was like, well, I want to do it too. I get it. I want to try it. Mm-hmm. So I did run the 5-mile turkey trot with him. I was very inadequately trained, and it was a miserable experience.
Yeah, at least like a 5K, you can get away with a lot of walking. I feel like 5 miles, that's a long time. And
to his credit, he stayed with me the whole time, and I whined and moaned a lot, because I thought I don't know, I just thought you could just, like, anyone could just run 5 miles.
Yeah, when you don't run, you're like, I could just do that.
Yeah. But then I was very proud of myself, even though it was horrible while it was happening. But then I learned, like, okay, maybe if I actually tried, next year could be better.
Yeah.
And then I, like, learned about, like, training plans and things, or just, like, generally, like, consistently running is a good idea if you want to run in a race. And I started doing it. And since then, I have run many 5Ks, including some with Katie, like the Vicky Soto 5K in Stratford. We did a craft beer run, which is really fun.
Yes. That was the best.
We did a run in the Bronx Zoo, which is super fun.
That one's also the best.
Yes. I've done some 10Ks. I did the Cherry Blossom 10-miler, which is a famous race in D.C. And then I've done the Hartford Half twice. The first year I did it, my shorts that I was wearing split open, like, in my inner thigh on one side, and I didn't notice until after I finished the race, and then I looked down and I saw my pants were split, and my shorts, not even my pants, my shorts. And the chafing was like a scene out of The Pit, which is a show about the ER and medical trauma, and it was disgusting. Like, it looked like I had, like, what's it called road rash. It looked like I had road rash all over my inner. Taking a shower was the worst thing that ever happened to me up until that moment. And I don't know, what do you even do? I have to, like, wear clothes. And
you gotta walk around.
I gotta walk around. It was bad. It was a bad thing. But I didn't notice it till the race was over. No, I did notice my shorts had split at, like, mile 8. But I was like, what am I gonna do? I don't have another pair of shorts. So I just kept going, and I just ignored it, and then it hurt.
So bad.
And I learned about Glide, which is something you can apply. It's kind of like, looks like deodorant. You put it on your, like, areas most prone to chafing, and it keeps the skin, like, from rubbing together, and it's very helpful.
That happened to me recently on, like, a walk.
Yeah.
And it was, like, I don't know, like, maybe 2 miles, and it was horrible.
Yeah, it's horrible.
I can't imagine running 4 more miles with it.
Yeah, it wasn't it wasn't great. But I remember very proud of myself. So, would you like to share anything about your experience?
I don't know.
You don't have to.
It was, we had a really nice sort of era of our lives where the two of us and our other best friend Linda would meet up like at least once a week somewhere. Some combination of the three of us.
Little run club.
And we would like just run.
Yeah.
And
talk.
And we did some 5Ks together. It was very nice.
Yeah.
I find it easier to run when you have the community.
Yeah, and
it makes it more
passing
fun.
the time together and also exercising.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm slow by regular running standards. Like I think my best when I was actually doing running consistently before I had 2 children, which packed on some extra pounds that I'm working on now. I was probably in like depending on the distance, like maybe here and there I could get into the 9-minute mile pace, but very rarely. I was more of in the 10-minute mile, and now I'm like solidly in a 12 to 13 minute. But that's all right because you can get faster as you get older when you have time to work on it and also lose weight.
So I never really took stock in how fast I run. For me, it was more how far I could run.
Yeah, totally. But like I was saying, I am really into the culture, and pace is like a big part of the culture.
And like the slower I run, the farther I can go.
Yeah, exactly.
Like when I'm doing a 5K, I remind myself, don't speed up.
Yeah.
Don't speed up. Just keep going like this.
Totally. And as running itself becomes a more universal sport, like it used to be like marathons, half marathons, etc., were like reserved for like athletes, like the elites. But now, over the past like decade or so, it's like really opened up. People, they do have cutoff times for marathons, but it's like if you can run one in 6 hours, you can do one. And 6 hours is like a 13-minute pace.
Okay.
So like they're making it more exclusive because running races is not cheap. But running itself is like you don't need a gym membership. You just need a pair of sneakers, and
it does need to be good sneakers. Though.
Yeah, yes, it does need to be good supportive sneakers, and it's worth it to go to a running store and have your feet fitted and like your gait analyzed, which is like free. You just like walk on a treadmill or run on a treadmill, and they're like you kind of like have some pronation or whatever, which basically means like your knees kind of, I don't know. Doesn't matter, but they'll tell you what kind of shoes you need to help with that. And you don't even have to like go to a doctor or anything. The running store people can tell you unless there's like something worse going on. Anywho, you do need a good pair of sneakers so that you don't get injured. But it is a great universal sport. You're always competing against yourself unless you're like on a track team or something, and I love it. And I love it for it's a combination. You could go for that like meditative solitude solo run, or you could join a run club or just run with your friends and pass the time talking to people. It's a great hobby, which we discussed on a previous episode, and finding that run club where you can meet up with people of all backgrounds is a great way to just like expose yourself to other people and other viewpoints that you could chat about on your run.
I feel like a back of the pack run club would be really great, because I don't want to join a run club because I'm not good at running, and I'm not going to be able to keep up with the people in the run club. I want to just casually like jog and chat.
Who has time for this back of the pack run club?
I would love that.
It. Details to follow. It used to be called the Hogwarts Running Club, if you remember that we called it that.
I forgot.
But now it's
not
going to
anymore.
Be rebranded to the back of the
no
pack.
Longer.
No more. We talked about this in episode 5, and we're not going to dive into it. We're not going to relitigate it now.
Yeah.
But so I like the thrill of starting a training plan and like the discipline I feel when I adhere to one.
Yeah.
And the wonderful exhaustion of a Saturday morning long run where it's like, I ran X number of miles today. Now I'm just going to like have fun and chill. And go to the pool or whatever.
And there is something to be said about the satisfaction of running and then getting a beer.
Yes, the post-race beer. I wrote that. And the post-race beer is, it's just...
something about it.
Chef's kiss. That's what I want to say.
Yeah. It's like, I've earned this.
And then, like, as you go along, like, if you're training for a specific race or whatever, like, the more you are training, even if the training is very simple, like I'm going to run 3 miles 3 times a week or whatever, that's still a plan. And, like, then you start being like, well, I would like to improve my core strength because it's going to help me run.
Yeah.
I want to bike more because that's going to help me run. You know, like, I don't know. It's just, like, one of those things that just, like, makes you want to do more because you want to do good for your body.
Yeah.
Because you're, like, excited to see what you can do. And I just love that. For me, my weird way of thinking, because I'm always, like, wanting to do physical feats, which you wouldn't know by, like, looking at me or anything, but, like...
What, you wanting to achieve?
Yes,
prize.
Which I'm gonna get to. I'm gonna get to that thinking in a minute, or not in a minute, but soon. But like vulnerable personal story. I had a traumatic first birth experience with my first baby that resulted in a unplanned C-section, and I remember telling myself that it was okay because I could just run a marathon one day, and that would show them. I don't know who them is. Myself, I guess. Yeah. And then I wanted to try to have what's called a VBAC, which is a vaginal birth after cesarean. But my plans were foiled by my baby being almost 10 pounds.
She was big.
And then I said to myself again, well, I'll show them. I can just run a marathon. Again, who is this them? I don't know. But I will run a marathon. So, but I already wanted to run a marathon before I had kids. So this isn't like some weird thing, but it's probably a little bit weird. I also like to hike and set myself up for unrealistic goals. Like I want to do all the 4,000 foot mountains in New Hampshire. I've done 7.
Okay.
I just wanted to accomplish it in my lifetime is all.
Have you done Monadnock?
Yes.
I like that one.
I think we did it.
Oh, I've done it twice.
Didn't. I didn't
once
do
with a high school
Monadnock.
boyfriend.
I did a different, much smaller mountain when we went to New Hampshire once.
Monadnock is one where I like keep thinking I'm almost there.
Yes.
And then you get to a part where it's a clearing, and then it's like, oh, there it is.
Yes. So
I'm halfway there.
Me and my husband and my brother-in-law want to do the 48. Like we hike them together.
Yeah.
Sometimes my sister joins and she hates it. So, but I'm proud of her when she's done, even though like I want to push her off the mountain while we're doing it, because she's whining the whole time. But yeah. Oh, and the other thing is like I always want to like my reason for like being active is so that when I can finally retire, I can still do all of these things.
Yeah.
Like I want to just keep setting myself up for like physical success later because nobody has time to do all this stuff, especially like when you own your own business or you have kids and you're working full time. And I just want to like, I don't know. I just want to
still be able to
be part of this forever. So moving forward, I just feel like running or even mountain climbing or not climbing, hiking, whatever. It's
I would
like,
love to do mountain climbing.
Yeah.
It's expensive though.
It is
expensive hobbies. Going to the climbing gym.
To the practice. Yeah, exactly.
Because that's where you really build the upper body strength.
Yeah, exactly. But running is like a thing, like a really great way to channel championing yourself and your friends and like other people around you who you're all doing the same thing. You just want to finish the race or finish the run, take that next step. And I thought about it, it's like a really good allegory for protest, for motherhood, for business ownership, for staying engaged in this relentless world and having faith and hope. And it's a good reminder that progress happens one step at a time. And you are often surrounded by strangers who become community, which is how I felt when I was at No Kings. So
yeah, how often do you hear about like all these difficult things? It's a marathon, not a race.
Yeah, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, exactly. So why do people do this to themselves? So like I was talking about my husband earlier who likes to run. I've asked him if he's run several half marathons, and I've said like, do you ever want to run a marathon? He's like, no, why would I want to do that? And I'm like, but why wouldn't you? You've done these, like that's just the next logical thing. And I don't know. So why? A lot of people don't like running. Like they just like, I don't want to run. I'd rather ride my bike. I don't want to run. I'd rather go. Like it's a very like I don't know.
And it's not like not everybody is made for running.
Yeah, exactly.
Not everybody needs to run.
Yeah, no.
There's other ways.
Exactly. And
we have a couple of good friends who are like hate it.
Yeah, and they're like, "What? That's like not fun."
And like the couple
of
times like I've gone with them, they're like, "No."
Yeah. and that's like, maybe they like biking instead, or maybe they like walking instead, maybe they like
there's a million things,
Zumba,
karate,
or maybe they like nothing instead. I don't know, but I do feel like running is like, you either like it or you don't. You know what I mean? Like, you just
like, I don't get that runner's high.
Yeah,
but it feels good.
Yeah,
once you can, like, I don't know, once you get used to it and you can, like, the pride, and like, it feels good when you're finished too, like the sense of accomplishment. So, but there is a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? A lot of discipline involved.
Yeah.
So it involves, like, I don't know, you've got to stick with it. You've got to be committed.
Yeah. And let me just say, I'm all about the walk run. I've never actually run a full thing in my life. I always walk running. But I think run more than walk, and that's...
I think I've only done one 5K ever without walking.
I've done maybe one. Actually, I did one. Yes, I've only done one.
Yeah.
I remember it was after I did Orange Theory for a long time, and I was like, wow, this really speaks to how great Orange Theory is for cross training, because I feel great and I can just run this whole thing. So anyway, some people are turned off by it. They're like, my knees are gonna hurt, my feet are gonna hurt, blah blah blah, and you know, they're like, why would you do it? So I actually found a beautiful Reddit thread where people were talking about why they run. So I just want to read a few things that I thought spoke to, like, the discipline and the meditation, self-reflection, escapism, control, and some ego and community. So one person said, it started as a way to get fit, but has become so much more. It gives me time to think, it's meditative, and I feel great while I'm doing it. And most importantly, through it, I have developed incredible discipline and drive that permeates my entire life. Running has made me a better person, and I really like my tiny shorts, which I have some tiny shorts, too, that I love to wear.
I can't wear tiny shorts because...
Well, you gotta get the chafing stuff.
I don't think that would work.
I love my tiny shorts. Another person said, jog 10K, drink a bit of water, pop open a cold beer while still cooling off. Best experience ever.
Yeah,
I love that. And then another person said, the confidence I have gained in my daily life from running is unmistakable. I have accomplished so much in my running life that has carried over into my personal, professional, and social life as well. I can handle stress and anxiety way better than I ever could. It's like, I thought I could never do these things, and now I am doing these things. I feel like no task or assignment is too big anymore. Unstoppable. I loved that. And then the comment on the thread was, guys, let's just take a minute right now to appreciate this. Every single one of us has different and unique problems going on in our life. Every one of us comes from a different background. We vary in age, size, experience, etc. But when we get outside to run, it's like we're all the same. That's pretty badass. I love that. And I thought it spoke to, again, hobbies and how we can all come from different perspectives and, like, do this thing together. Yes, every runner says it differently, but they're all describing, like, the same thing, this, like, surrender to the effort of running. And then I was, again, looking for more, just, like, trying to put into words these, like, complex feelings that we're discussing. And I saw some Instagram posts by a guy. His handle is Run for Huntington, and I believe he runs in different races to raise money for Huntington's disease, which I forget exactly what that is. He said, and his is specific to marathon running, but running a marathon is more than just a physical challenge. It's a metaphor for life. And like we said, everybody says it's a marathon, not a sprint. Every kilometer you run is a lesson in resilience, in overcoming obstacles and persevering despite fatigue and pain. Resilience is built in these moments of doubt. Each stride reminds us that failure is not an end in itself, but an opportunity to get back up, learn, and grow. As in life, the unexpected arises, cramps, bad weather, or simply the wall to overcome. However, each runner, by facing these challenges, discovers an unsuspected determination within themselves. Running a marathon teaches us that life is a journey full of obstacles, but that every step, every fall, and every rise brings us one step closer to our true potential. Resilience is not only the ability to resist, but also the ability to reinvent ourselves, to continue moving forward step by step toward our dreams. And of course, I see this as like an allegory for the resistance we are all talking about now, and like reinventing ourselves in that way.
I was just thinking, it kind of like all this thought of like, you know, the discipline and like the effort that goes into running and how that feels good, and it feels good to have that accomplishment. I feel like part of the reason I was having so much trouble, like, in this last year with, like, I haven't gotten my 5K back since the pandemic.
Me neither, I don't think.
I've been trying and just not meeting my goals. And so recently, like this year, I was like, I'm just going to walk for now. And when I feel like jogging, I'll jog.
Yeah.
But it got me thinking, like, I feel like all of my effort and discipline has been being channeled into, like, this year.
Yeah.
Into the most immediate threats, which is like this political climate and keeping my business afloat amongst it and like paying my rent. So it's like
survivor mode, survival mode.
And I feel like when things are like a little more leveled out was when I was able to be like, yeah, let's run. And then, because the thing is, like, the discipline and the accomplishment from running helps, it goes to all the other parts of your life.
It just gives you confidence. Yeah, that's what it does.
I don't know, I feel like that discipline that I had been channeling into running has been needed to temporarily be rechanneled to these other spaces.
That's fine.
Yeah.
For me, it's like finding the time to do it. Not finding the time, making the time. Because, I mean, it's okay right now. It's a hard time in general to be living in the United States right now. Add on that small children that demand all of your attention. And when they're not, you're working.
Yeah.
But that's still like, I need to find time to do things that I like to do and also make me feel good because I deserve it. So,
but it's also okay to be gentle with yourself.
Yes,
because
course.
All of those things that you've described, all the things that I described, they also take your emotional attention.
Yeah.
And that is, even if it's not like, even if you do have like little pockets of time, you don't always have the capacity to use them for anything but recharging.
Yes, exactly. And like putting your shoes on and getting changed. And like, that's all like a whole thing, like a whole mental hurdle. And definitely I'm trying to be gentle on myself, but also I'm itching to get back into it too. So it's
I feel the same dichotomy. There was one day where I had a really good day and it was beautiful out recently, and I drove home and I was blasting music.
Yeah.
And I got home and it was an early work day too, because usually I work till the evenings. Yeah. And I like threw on my shoes and I went for a run.
Yeah,
that was great.
I love that.
But I haven't done it since. I've just been walking.
The last time I ran, it was before a physical therapy appointment, because she was like, I need to know if you have any pain while you're running. And I ran for like 1 minute. And I was like, sort of, because when you have a C-section, all of your muscles get messed up. So, but that's why pelvic floor therapy is amazing and everyone should do it. C-section or otherwise, vaginal birth, whatever, and insurance should cover it because it's really good for you. But that's another tale for another time. Back to like the psychology of this. Why do we love a story of struggle? If it's our own story of struggle, if it's other people's story of struggle, and why is like running a story of struggle, basically? So in researching this, I found an article that quoted a sports psychologist, Dr. Josephine Perry. It was actually, I think it was like a British publication called Stylist magazine, obviously linked in the show notes. But she talked about it, she just talked about it from the vantage point of like why people sign up for monumental things like marathons and like big endurance events. And again, just if you run doesn't mean you have to run a marathon, but like I'm wanted to like push into like, why do people challenge themselves this way or define themselves this way? Because it's something, as you could hear me saying earlier, that I see as like an achievement that I would like to do. Yeah. So I know that like lots of other people view it like that. So I wanted to like dig into that. So why do people do this? And she says, some people do it to raise money. Lots of people run marathons to raise money. That's actually one of the only ways you can get into the big name, like the Boston Marathon.
I've gone to a Boston Marathon fundraiser before.
Yeah, and because it's really like popular and there's only so many slots, so you have to raise like $5,000 for charity. It's a lot. So people do it for that, for a cause or in memory of someone they love, which is beautiful. But for a lot of people, it's an intrinsic motivation, an internal motivation. Can be about figuring yourself out. So Dr. Perry says people often turn to challenges like marathons when they're not totally sure who they are or what direction they're going. And again, it doesn't have to be a marathon. If you were in the Reddit thread I was reading earlier, you can kind of see there's some like, when people have insecurities about other things, they turned to running. So the person who said, like, she was, I don't know if it's a he or she, but was running, and then it helped with other things in life, like it translated to, like, feeling more confident at work. Like, you can kind of see, like, in channeling the discipline for running, and made them feel more confident to tackle things outside, and maybe there was, like, some feeling of being lost in
and then also, like, just that sense of accomplishment in anything just builds up your self-esteem everywhere else.
Exactly. So Dr. Perry was saying, like, people can take on these challenges when they're like looking for a way to rebuild confidence and to remind yourself, I can do hard things, I can finish what I start, which I think is, to me, what I felt with my birth experience. Obviously, nothing was my fault that happened, things I'm working through, but, like, why did I immediately think, like, oh, I can train for a marathon
and also,
instead?
like those sort of emotional responses don't always listen to logic.
Exactly. There's lots of not logical, but I know I can do hard things and I can finish what I start, and that spoke to me. So then she also talked about the idea of autonomy, which is, like, I thought was an interesting lens to view it through. So in so many parts of life, especially like with work or with parenting or with politics, we're constantly collaborating or reacting to something that's happening. Like, your kid is having a tantrum. Your president is having a tantrum. Your patients aren't paying their bills, or the insurance company's giving you a hard time, whatever. We don't always get to feel like we're in charge of the outcome. Yeah. But when you're running, it's different. It's just you and the road, and your sneakers, and your tiny shorts. And the results, whether you finish your run or whether you improve your pace, it's completely up to you. And it's also completely up to you how you define the success of any given run. You have total control over your effort, and that's, like, deeply satisfying in a world where everything else feels like it's spinning out of control. Now I want to go for a run right now because I feel like I'd feel, like, so great. There's also a theme of mastery among people who, like, decide to take on these challenges of, like, a marathon or an ultra marathon or something. Dr. Perry says once you start getting even a little good at something, like running a certain distance or beating your previous pace, it becomes addictive in what should be a good way, but there's always the potential for it to become unhealthy if you, like, get obsessed. But let's just try to focus on the positive. You can see what else you're capable of. And it's less about competing with others, like we've said. It's more about measuring progress against your past self. There's that small hit of, I did it, and it builds momentum. And that momentum can build identity for people who are maybe feeling lost. And then one of the runners interviewed in the article, her name is Flora Beverly, and she's an ultra marathoner, which means anything like above 26.2 miles, and a running blogger, put it perfectly. She said when she's training for something big, it gives her a sense of control that she doesn't get in everyday life. And when so much feels uncertain, it's nice to have something that's simple math. If you put in the work, you tend to improve, and that can be grounding for people. And she also said something that I really liked, which was that part about what keeps her coming back to running is escape. And it's, like, beautifully uncomplicated. You eat, you move, you rest, you repeat. Like, real life is a lot more complicated than spending 5 hours running a marathon or whatever. And, like, think about it. Or even just taking a jog after work or whatever. You take, like, you warm up, you run, you stretch, you shower, and, like, nobody can bother you during that time. You just are doing it. And you come back, and, like, honestly, the world hasn't changed that much in the 1 hour that you were...
Nobody can bother you except for that one time that I was jogging on the street in my city, and a man asked me to take his photo, and I was like, okay. And he gave me the phone, and then he, like, walked away to get, like... He wanted me to take photos as he was walking, and then he turned around, and he's like, okay, now I'm going to do it again without my sweatshirt. And he, like, made me stop for, like, the audacity of this man. I was so mad. He messed up, like, I had my music all synced up for when I was supposed to run and when I was supposed to walk. Oh, I was so mad at him.
That is
I mean, I could have just kept running and pretended I didn't hear him, but I was too nice. Anyway, that was so not on topic. Who stops someone who's running and says, can you take my photo?
Yeah, and then, like, only take one photo.
Yeah. No, he walked all the way down the block and then, like, peacocked back.
That's so weird. Anyway, yeah, definitely not polite.
Usually people don't bother you.
Yeah, normally. Yes, well, when you are not interrupted, it can give you a sense of meaning and peace at the same time. Because it's both demanding on you physically, but like freeing mentally. Mm-hmm. And it's a way to practice being human with all the pain and persistence and quiet triumph that comes with it. Dr. Perry, that is the sports psychologist, offers a small warning. Like anything, it can tip into unhealthy territory if we tie our entire self-worth to these like physical achievements. But when the motivation is right, we're running to understand ourselves and not punish ourselves. It can be a very grounding, affirming experience. And then
I was gonna say, yeah, like tying your entire self-worth to those goals. It's like running can help you with everything, but it shouldn't be your only thing.
Yeah, exactly. And also, let me just say, like, we're talking about running, but if your thing is kickboxing or if your thing is walking, hiking, just use running as like the I don't know, the stand-in for whatever your chosen, like, physical activity that takes you out of your head is. Then I read another piece on Medium by a writer who's also a runner named Pragya Priyadarshani, and I will link this, obviously, in the show notes, but she talks about it, like, from her just being a writer and observer point of view, physical challenges, like, signing up for a marathon, or just running. A lot of this stuff is, like, marathon because we're focusing on like the more extreme
and those are probably more the people who are writing about
running. Exactly. But they can help us with how we see ourselves, our self-concept, our sense of control, and even how we cope with life's tougher emotions. So for some people, pushing their body to the limit can become a way to rewrite their own story, which is how I think of my own experience. If you've ever felt stuck or uncertain or insecure, there's something powerful about training for something that forces you to prove yourself, even if you're only proving yourself to yourself. I can do this. I can do it. It's plain and simple. It's not just about being fit or becoming fit. It's about mastery, identity, and building a new kind of confidence. Achieving something so tangible helps people redefine who they are and what they feel capable of. It's like self-empowerment through endurance. Then, of course, there's the escapism side, and this is kind of like retelling what the sports psychologist said, but through someone who's not a psychologist, just somebody observing and writing about it. Yes, for some people, the appeal isn't just about achieving a distance or a pace or whatever. It's about getting away from something else. People dealing with high stress, anxiety, or trauma might turn to intense physical challenges as a kind of release valve. And we talked about this a little bit in our hobbies episode when I said there was like a veterinarian who was interviewed in that Niche to Meet You podcast, which is all about hobbies. He's an ultra marathoner, and he said it helped him get away from the stress of his job as a veterinarian. And when you're in the middle of like a grueling training run on a hot day or something, all the usual noise, like the stress, the sadness, the overthinking, quiets down. You're forced to like just one foot in front of the other, be in the present moment, focus on your breath, your body, the next step. It's a physical pain that paradoxically can bring some, or not necessarily pain, but a physical discomfort that can bring mental relief, which is like another controllable kind of discomfort or pain when emotional stuff might feel too big or abstract to deal with.
I feel like that's a lot of like yoga.
Yes.
Like
yoga does it too.
That
yeah,
too.
Exactly.
Yeah, like the discomfort, and you just kind of have to make peace with it and continue on.
Yeah, exactly. Yoga's, I didn't even think about that. Yoga's
you, like,
another
welcome
thing.
It in.
For some people, their running is yoga.
Yeah.
You know? And there's like obviously the biochemical payoff too, the endorphins, the runner's high. Happy people don't shoot their husband. Yeah, I don't know. It depends.
I don't get it.
It depends on the run. If it's like a good run, yeah.
Although,
or if it's like run where I overcome something, yes.
Although, like, I don't know, do you have to reach a certain amount of miles? Because I never run more than like 3 miles.
No, I think I don't know. I probably have only really gotten it in doing a race.
The things that get me to go the furthest, I don't get the runner's high. It's either running with friends and I'm talking, or I have little stories in my head that I play to the music.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this is like the part where, I don't know, whatever I make up.
Yeah, and then just in general, like moving more often, whether it's running or whatever, your mood will lift, anxiety can ease, and sleep improves. If you're having trouble sleeping, I know there's like people have trouble sleeping for all different reasons, and there's all different causes and all different remedies. Like if you're having trouble sleeping, like, I really, like, try, like, moving extra for a few days and see if that helps. Because for me, it just helps to have a tired body sometimes to quiet my untired mind. And I can tell when I'm sleeping, like, I've been sleeping poorly recently because of the horrors of the world. And also I don't exercise. And I know, I know that if I did, it would help me go to sleep here. Like, and that's where I am right now. I know these things. Haven't.
All we can do is our best.
Tried. Yeah. Exactly. As Mark in the very hilarious British comedy Peep Show had said, I'm doing my best, and that's all anyone can ask.
Aww.
So, yes. The physiological reward of running plus the emotional catharsis creates a feedback loop. The more you do it, ideally, the better you feel, and the more you want to keep going, and then the more you want to add. Like I was saying, like now you want to try strength training because you just like want to make your body feel good. I don't know. You want to do cross training because you want to like help your knees out.
Yeah.
But it's not a solo journey. There's a deep social and existential layer to like a run club or like a gym class, a kickboxing class, a Zumba class, whatever. And like for athletes or just anybody who's like trying to do these bigger races like marathoners, ultra marathoners, they talk about the communities that form around these sports.
Yeah.
They share rituals. They understand the lingo, like I was saying with the running podcasts and the running blogs. They support each other, and they all like kind of understand what it means to keep going when everything hurts. Like everybody has like a crazy running story where like they fell and scraped up their knees and they kept going, or their shorts split open and they chafed horribly and they kept going, or I don't know. Like I feel like a lot of people have terrible bathroom stories, and I won't get into it, but that's a big sub-genre in running.
A really funny post somewhere online that was like somebody, you know, they had their Fitbit or whatever tracking their heart rate, and they were like, this was me a run, and I really had to poop on my way back. And like it's just like their like little green line, and then it gets like super red right at the end.
Yeah,
because their heart was going, and they were like, I need to get home.
I gotta get home to the toilet. Yeah, exactly. No, that's like a big, a lot of people have that problem because it can like activate your digestive system. So in ways that you don't want to deal with.
I can't eat before I run.
A lot of people can't.
Yeah.
Or you can only eat like a banana like 5 hours before.
I can't have anything before I run or else I get a cramp.
And then like for the types of sport or like really endurance where you really have to push yourself, or even like high risk stuff like free diving, that kind of but even
Scary.
with marathoning or mountain climbing or whatever, there's always the chance of you have to confront your mortality when you're like really into it, because you're putting yourself face to face with your own human limits. And instead of speaks more to things like, because she was talking about like all kinds of like endurance and high risk type of sports, but even like training for a marathon is no joke. That is like a hard thing to do.
I'm never gonna do that.
And even a half marathon it's a lot. You're putting yourself face to face with your own limits, and that can make you feel more alive. And it's a reminder that like we're all here on this earth for whatever time we have, and our bodies and our choices matter, and we should take care of them and each other. And when you zoom out, it's not about just chasing a finish line. It's about coping and connecting and understanding yourself through movement. So, these challenges, or even just your everyday after work run or pre-work run, can become a mirror to see ourselves more clearly.
Yeah.
And for me, getting serious about running again is kind of like part of my grand plan to recapture my identity. I've spent the last like 4 years at this point putting my needs behind those of my tiny humans, whether they were earthside or in utero. And while I would do it again, I do look forward to challenging my body the way I see fit. and reclaiming my role as a back-of-the-pack runner once again.
I always motivate myself in a silly way with running because I'm like, you know what? If the zombie apocalypse happens, I should be able to run 3 miles.
Yes, exactly. Or if I'm in the Hunger Games.
Right?
Right? That's a meme. Like, I run so that I'm not the first to die in the Hunger Games. Yeah. And yes, exactly. I want to be able to outrun
silly,
the very slow zombies.
But it's, yeah.
Unless they run, then that's a problem.
28 days later, I'm out. But Walking Dead, maybe.
Yeah. What's the other one that we like? The Last of Us.
The Last of Us.
I'm not going to outrun those guys, no matter how hard I try. So, yes. And I just, again, camaraderie, too, is a big thing, like we talked about with running culture. And the start line, the sweaty high fives, the shared exhaustion, the cheering and the hooting and hollering mid-race, and from the sidelines. Mm-hmm. It's just so much fun.
There was always like a house in the Vicky Soto run where they would, they had like, didn't they have a band playing? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it was like, you got so hyped when you ran by it.
So much fun.
And you were like, yes, I can make it to the other half.
Yeah. And Jason and I do the Manchester road race on Thanksgiving. That's become our new tradition. And that is like a very historic event in Manchester. Yeah. They've been doing it for like 80 years. And the houses that line the race course, they're like so into it. Like they give like runners like beer and shots and stuff because it's Thanksgiving morning, whatever. Yeah. And there's bands along the way, and it's just so much fun. And then just quickly as we wrap up, I did want to include that there are some famous marathoners in our midst. Did you know that Harry Styles ran a marathon in under 3 hours? He's like a legit runner.
What can't he do?
Chelsea Clinton is a marathoner. She's run like the New York City Marathon. George W. Bush has run like I don't know which one, but
also
in Texas.
A painter.
Yeah, he's also a painter. Edward Norton, Cynthia Erivo, who plays, what's her name? What's the witch's name?
The witch.
Elphaba. Wicked. Pamela Anderson has run a marathon. Drew Carey.
Wow.
Gordon Ramsay. Yeah, he loves discipline. Flea from Where's Flea from?
I don't know. Who's that?
Is he from U2? I don't know. Remember, he's a guitarist.
Okay, I have no idea who that is.
I forget.
Well, he is highlighted, so he's important.
He isn't. I think it's Red Hot Chili Peppers because.
Oh, okay.
I feel like Jason told me this. He loves Red Hot Chili Peppers. Al Roker. Al Roker had a very public weight loss story, and marathoning was part of it. Eddie Izzard.
Bryan Cranston.
Al Gore ran the Marine Corps Marathon in D.C. while he was vice president. Okay. Shia LaBeouf ran.
Oh my gosh! Wait, Colin Farrell. What did you write here? Oh, he pushed his friend in a wheelchair.
Why didn't I highlight that? Colin Farrell pushed his friend in a wheelchair at the 2024 Dublin Marathon.
That's cool.
Kevin Hart, Alicia
Ryan
Keys,
Reynolds.
Uzo Aduba, who's from Orange is the New Black, Natalie Dormer, Marjorie from Game of Thrones, Andrea Barber, Kimmy from Full House. Andrea Barber was on the Ally on the Run show. Ellie Kemper, who plays Erin in The Office, also was on the Ally on the Run show. Ashton Kutcher, Ryan Reynolds, Katie Holmes, Mario Lopez.
This is also like going down and being like, oh, okay, why are you problematic? Oh,
yeah.
Because they're celebrities. Like,
exactly. Sean Astin, that was my favorite one. Oprah, also a very public weight loss story. And Will Ferrell has run marathons.
Remember when Oprah brought her wheelbarrow full of fat onto her show?
Yes, I do. In her very public weight loss story. Taylor Swift allegedly trained for the Eras Tour by running on a treadmill and singing at the same time.
Destiny's Child did it first. Well, they did it on a track outside.
That's even more impressive, if you ask me. So, it's like, I don't know. When the world feels impossible, just remember that even powerful people have to put one foot in front of the other to finish a marathon.
But also remember that all these people have a lot of privilege and money and time.
And they got people who can take care of their kids and make them food. Yeah. And prepare their nutrition plan.
And for a lot of them, fitness is part of their job.
Yes, exactly. They have to maintain their fitness, typically.
Like when JLo was like, they call me a diva, but I work the hardest. And it's like, part of your job is working out 2 hours a day, 6 days a week. I don't get paid to work out. Anyway.
Exactly. Just returning to the center here is a nice yoga term. No, it's all right. It's true, though. Like, for me, like I just said earlier, running or even just working out or, like, walking and just getting back into fitness in general is, like, I'm not competing here. I'm just trying to continue to be the me I was before I had children. Involved, because obviously I can't. I'm forever changed in a way. And that was a me who really cared about being strong and capable and fit. And like I said earlier, my goal is so that when I'm like 70 and retired, I can like still be climbing mountains and do cool stuff. And with my husband, and we can like get in an RV and go hike in all the national parks and whatever. And I don't have to wait till I'm 70. I'm just saying I'd like to be able to still do it.
Let's hope that we can,
we have national parks.
As a nation, like push for enough reform where we can all afford to go on trips.
Yeah,
where we
exactly.
Can hike in national parks.
Exactly. And it's just like, it's learning to move through the pain and the uncertainty and the fatigue, just like in life. Democracy, fighting for democracy, parenthood, etc. And again, it gives me faith in humanity to talk about running through this lens.
Yeah.
And I truly do believe we're all just doing the best we can, or most people are all just not, there's definitely exceptions, but we're all just doing the best we can. We're all working toward a common goal, even if we might have different ideas of how to get there or different understandings or perspectives. But if we can all kind of like just come together to finish the run, as it were, or the workout, wouldn't it be nice to find a common goal as like a nation or the human race to work toward together, one step at a time? So to wrap up, I just think if we could bottle up that running a race start line marathon spirit and give it to everybody, I don't know, maybe we'd all just be happier.
All like together working toward one goal.
Yeah.
But
one goal.
It's like
to improve everybody's lives. Is that so hard?
And it's all individual goals. It's like
a collective individual goal.
Yeah, it's like both at the same time.
And remember, it's a marathon, not a sprint, even though we've throughout human history been trying to work toward bettering life of everybody. Progress is not linear. And it can be slow, and so can running a marathon. So that's our ode to running from a couple of back-of-the-pack runners. And I know that I'm going to be trying to make some time this week for even like a 20-minute run walk around the neighborhood. What are you making time for this week?
Recently, I've been making time for one of, like we talked about in hobbies. One of my hobbies I like to do is sewing. I'm not that great at it. I'm like a back-of-the-pack seamstress. But and also R.I.P. Joann's, it's really hard to get fabric and stuff.
Yeah.
But I've been doing like taking shirts and kind of cropping them and adding like little finishings to the bottom, like lace and tassels and stuff, which is kind of just gives them a little facelift, and it feels like I've made something new and I've done something creative, and it's fun.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like it's a little compromise.
Yeah.
Like rather than sewing a whole garment, I can do this realistically in one night.
Yeah. And
have something to show for it, and it feels good.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Well, everybody, I hope whatever it is that brings you like that runner's high or feeling of accomplishment, I hope you find time for it this week. See you next time.
Peace.